Most institutions of higher education require an intake or initial interview before you can receive accommodations for your disability. The next few slides will help to explain some questions you may have about the initial interview. Benefits of this initial interview will help you and your coordinator get to know one another, so you will feel more comfortable contacting the coordinator if issues or problems arise during the semester. Disability accommodations are not one size fits all. For instance, if 3 students are diagnosed with dyslexia, the accommodations could be similar, but each may have accommodations that the other 2 do not receive. Another way to say it is this: no 2 students have the same strengths, weaknesses, and needs, even if they have the same disability. The intention of accommodations is to tailor the accommodations to what you need. By knowing more about you, the accommodations you have used in the past, and what you feel like you need to succeed in college, you and your coordinator can create an accommodations plan that works best for you. This interview typically takes 30 minutes to an hour. This is more of a conversation than an interview, so relax. Be honest in your responses so the coordinator has the opportunity to really understand your strengths as well as your challenges. At UGA's Disability Office, you have the right to decide who will be in your intake interview. If you would like your parents to accompany you and also have permission to talk with your coordinator, you can do that. If you want to receive accommodations without parental contact, you can do that also. Be sure to let the disability office know so they can give you the necessary parental release information forms. Remember, each institution may have their own policies in place about who can be present during the initial interview. So ask ahead of time if you would like your parent to attend.
Disability Center, coming into UGA, I found out about it, I'd say, in September of my freshman year. And so I got my documentation immediately from my doctor at home and got it in as quick as possible. And then I just would try to work with the Disability Center and get it as quick as you can, because really the resources here are so incredible that you want to get it in as quick as you can. So just getting it organized and getting it together, and then also asking questions if you're confused about anything. I think that the people here are so great and they want to help you. So just if you can answer, or if they can answer any questions, they're going to be happy to.
If you have not provided the office with documentation of your disability, you will want to bring this with you to the interview. Documentation requirements vary from school to school, but useful information may include a letter from the ACT or College Board listing your approved testing accommodations, a learning profile from your high school, and the report or documentation from your psychologist.
Come into your intake meeting, take deep breaths, realize that everybody here is going to help you. It's their job, and just tell your coordinator everything that you have and what accommodations you had in high school, and if they can be transferred over to college, then insist that they are, and then things will be much smoother for you in your ensuing college career.
During the initial interview, the disability coordinator who interviews you will ask you questions about your past accommodations in the classroom and on standardized tests. Your coordinator will also ask you questions about how your disability impacts you on tests, in the classroom, and when reading or studying. Answer these questions helps your coordinator to determine what accommodations will benefit you most. Your coordinator will listen to what you have to say, so be sure to ask questions. You may want to ask your coordinator what accommodations are typically used by a student with your disability. When they recommend accommodations for you, you should definitely ask how these accommodations work at the college level. For example, if you are approved to receive a note taker, do you request a note taker online, or do you ask your professor to help find one? If you receive audiobooks as an accommodation, when do you have to provide receipts of purchase to prove that you purchased a copy of the textbook? You will also want to know how often you should meet with your coordinator and what other resources exist on campus to help students. Your coordinator may be able to refer you to other offices that offer tutoring, help with essays, or assistance with reducing testing anxiety. Remember, disability services offices are happy to help you with whatever you may encounter. All you have to do is ask. In high school, you may have attended your accommodations meetings with a team of people, parents, teachers, administrators, but typically at the college level, it will be you and your coordinator who are working together on accommodations. This initially happens when you first register, but you may revisit accommodations with your coordinator as issues arise. For many students, this is a great opportunity to work on self-advocacy skills. For your first semester, it is best to meet with your coordinator before the start of the semester in order to make sure you understand how receiving accommodations at your college works, what is expected of you, and what are the coordinator and the professor's responsibilities. Remember, you can always get support from your coordinator to talk to your faculty if necessary. However, in post-secondary education, the process needs to begin with you and your faculty having the conversation first. Coordinators are there to support you in this process. Your college experience is all about you. Some students like to meet with their coordinator frequently, just to have someone to check in with, while others may just check in at the beginning and end of the semester. When we see successful students, the one thing we find most interesting is the relationship they have established with their coordinator. By this we mean, how often do students contact their coordinators? Students who set up regular meetings, for example, once or twice a month, especially to get started, usually do better than a student who only contacts the coordinator after the fact, for example, failing an exam. By meeting more often, students have the opportunity to share the good things that are happening, as well as the things that may be troubling to them. By sharing this relationship, it is much easier to remedy a problem or support the student because of that relationship.
I am a current second-year student here at the University of Georgia majoring in International Affairs, and I can definitively say that the DRC has been a vital asset in my success as a student here.
Final thoughts performing day-to-day. Contact your coordinator when you're not sure what next to do. Meet with your faculty and get to know each other. Talk to your coordinator about the different support systems on campus. Hopefully, this has given you some things to think about. Take some time to jot down any questions you may have. We will be back with you tomorrow over Skype and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. See you then!